The year was 1908, Arizona Territory. A man was running for his life. Gunshots ripped through the pines like cracking whips. 3 riders thundered behind him, dust swirling in their wake. He stumbled, blood pouring from his side, a heavy saddlebag slapping against his leg. Every breath burned. Every shadow looked like death. But he didn't know it yet. The real storm was waiting just 8 miles east. On a quiet little farm, no one ever noticed, the wounded man crashed out of the trees into open ground. Vance the Viper. Calder reined in his horse. His men, Silas Creed and Boone Rawlins, flanked him, rifles still smoking. Calder smiled the way a wolf smiles before the kill. Slow, calm, certain. He took the gun from Creed's hand, chambered around, and let the distance stretch. No rush. Not yet. When they finally reached the bleeding man, Calder pressed a boot to his chest. "Where's my money, Declan? And where's the rest of it?" Declan Ross coughed blood. "East, toward the border. He's dying too." Calder studied him like a man reading bad news in a telegram. Then he nodded once. They tied Declan to a scrub oak and left him for the buzzards. Miles away, the Whitaker farm baked under the dying sun. Elia's Ely. Whitaker wiped sweat from his brow, hammering a loose fence rail. His 16-year-old son Caleb worked beside him. Quiet, watchful. The kind of silence only fathers and sons who've lost a mother can share. Then Caleb pointed. "Pa, horse. No rider." The animal wandered in, saddle dark with fresh blood. Ly's jaw tightened. Something ancient flickered behind his eyes, just for a second, then vanished. "Stay with the stock," he told his son. "I'll handle it." He followed the trail on foot at first, then mounted up. The land went quiet except for the wind and his own heartbeat. He found Declan Ross face down in the dirt, still breathing, barely. Ellie knelt, checked the wound, then spotted the saddlebag 10 feet away. Half open. Stacks of gold and greenbacks gleaming like temptation itself. Most men would have walked away. Ely stared at the money a long beat. Then at the wounded stranger. Then at the distant smoke rising from his own chimney, where his boy waited. He made his choice. He scooped up the bag, wiped every hoof print and boot mark. With a handful of sage, heaved Declan across his saddle, and rode home hard. Inside the cabin that night, lantern light danced across rough walls. Caleb helped his father carry the stranger to the spare cot. They cut away the shirt. The bullet was still in there. "No doctor tonight," Eli said quietly. "Too far. We do this ourselves or he dies." While Caleb watched the stranger's shallow breathing, Eli slipped into the back room. He hid the saddlebag and the stranger's pistol behind a loose plank. He didn't see Caleb watching from the doorway, eyes wide with questions he didn't dare ask. Morning came too fast. Ellie checked that Declan was too weak to cause trouble, then saddled his horse. "Keep the shotgun close, son. I'm riding for Doc Miller. Don't let him move." Caleb nodded, but the second his father disappeared over the ridge, the boy's curiosity took over. He found the hidden plank, the money, the pistol. Outside, he tested the gun on a tin can. Missed every shot. Laughed at himself, embarrassed, put everything back exactly as he found it. Then he opened the old cigar box on the shelf. Yellowed newspaper clippings spilled out. Headlines from 20 years ago. "The shadow strikes again. 12 dead in one night. Ghost gunman vanishes after bloody ambush." Every article mentioned the same name, Elias Whitaker. The man they said was faster than death itself. The man they said was buried in an unmarked grave. Caleb's hands trembled. Meanwhile, Eli was already in trouble. He had stopped at the exact spot he'd found Declan and walked straight into Vance Calder's men. Ely melted into the brush, listening. Creed's voice carried on the wind. "Trail's cold, boss." But someone cleaned it, someone who knew exactly what they were doing. A flock of quail exploded into the air. Ely froze. Calder's head snapped toward the sound. "Company." Boone Rawlins grinned. "Let's flush him." Ellie moved like smoke, sliding backward, heart hammering for the first time in years. But Silas Creed was already circling wide, silent as a blade. Back at the farm, Declan Ross woke up, gasping. Caleb stood over him with the shotgun. "My pa found you shot. Brought you here to save you." Declan's eyes narrowed. "Where's your old man?" "Kid, feeding the hogs out back." Declan lunged, weak but desperate. "Give me my gun and the bag, boy, now." The front door slammed open. Ely stepped in, calm as winter steel, and cracked Declan across the jaw with the butt of his rifle. The stranger dropped like a sack of grain. "Tie him," Eli said. No anger, just fact. Later, while Eli dug the bullet out of Declan's side with a heated knife, the stranger finally talked. "I'm United States Marshal Declan Ross. Or I was. Those men chasing me, they're not law." Vance Calder and his pack robbed a train carrying payroll. Killed my deputies, stole our badges. I took the money and ran. But they're coming, and they don't leave witnesses. Ellie's hands never shook. "Why should I believe a word out of your mouth?" Declan met his eyes. "Because if you don't cut me loose and give me a gun, you and that boy are already dead." Ellie said nothing. Outside, 3 riders appeared on the ridge. Calder raised a hand in mock greeting. "We're looking for a wounded fugitive. Calls himself Declan Ross. You seen him?" Ely stood on his porch, shotgun loose in his hands. "Can't say I have." Calder's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Mind if we look around? He's wanted in 3 counties. Ellie's voice stayed flat. "Mind if I see that badge again?" Sun's bright, hard to read. Calder's men shifted. Tension crackled like dry lightning. Then Calder pulled out a small carved wooden horse from his pocket and turned it slowly in his fingers. "Saw a grave out front. Name on it. Your wife?" Ellie didn't answer. Calder continued. Soft. "Funny thing. 20 years back, there was a man named Whitaker who tore through Arizona and New Mexico like the devil himself. They called him the Shadow, fastest gun anyone ever saw. Supposedly died in an ambush outside Lincoln County. But some folks, they say he just disappeared. Raised a family instead." Ellie's finger rested on the trigger guard. "All my kin's dead and buried. Never heard of any Shadow." Calder studied him a long moment, then tipped his hat. "Keep your doors locked tonight, Mr. Whitaker. Dangerous country." The riders turned and left. Inside, Eli's hands finally trembled, just once. As he reloaded Declan's pistol, Caleb exploded. "Pa! You almost drew on them. What the hell's going on?" Ely grabbed his son by the shirt. "You stay away from that gun. You stay away from that box. You hear me?" His voice cracked with something raw. Fear. Love. A lifetime of running from who he used to be. Declan, from the cot, spoke quietly. "They're not lawmen. They're killers, and they're coming back." That night, Boone Rawlins ignored orders. He crept to the farm under moonlight and opened fire. Glass shattered. Bullets punched through walls. Caleb screamed as a round grazed his arm. Declan took another hit to the leg. Ely moved like the man in the newspapers. He slid a pistol into his son's shaking hands. "If he gets inside, you aim center mass. You don't stop pulling until he drops. You understand?" Then Eli stepped out the back door with his old scattergun. Boone never saw him coming. One shot. Clean. Final. Ellie dragged the body away, then returned to his bleeding son and whispered, "I got you, boy. I got you." Caleb stared at his father like he was seeing him for the first time. "Who are you?" Ellie's eyes glistened. Someone who swore he'd never be that man again. Dawn brought the rest of the pack. Vance Calder rode up with Silas Creed and Eli's own brother-in-law, Jed. Beaten, bloodied, but alive, dragged behind on a rope. Calder called out, calm as ever. "We know who you are, Shadow. Jed here tried to keep your secret, loyal, stupid. But we know. Hand over Declan and the money. And you and the boy walk. Refuse. And we burn this place with all of you inside." Ellie stepped onto the porch alone. He looked at his terrified son through the window. At Declan, barely conscious. At the life he had built from the ashes of violence. Then he became the Shadow again. He walked straight into the open. Calder's smile faltered for the first time. The first shot came from Eli's hip, impossibly fast. Calder's hat spun off his head. Hell broke loose. Bullets tore the air. Eli moved like liquid death, using the porch posts, the water trough, the corner of the barn. He put Creed down with a single round while the man tried to flank. Boone's replacement tried the back door. Eli was already there, waiting, knife work, silent. Brutal Caleb watched from inside, tears streaming, gripping the pistol he swore he'd never touch. When the smoke cleared, only Calder remained. Wounded, crawling toward the tree line, still clutching that little wooden horse. Eli followed him into the woods. 2 more shots echoed. Then silence. He came back, limping, shoulder bleeding, but alive. He hugged his son so tight, Caleb could barely breathe. It's over. But it wasn't. While they tried to bandage Declan, the stranger's shirt slipped. Eli saw the brand on his shoulder, the same mark Boone had carried. Declan coughed a weak laugh. "Yeah, I wore their brand. Joined up after they killed my men. Thought I could ride away rich. Guess I was wrong." Eli's face went stone cold. Caleb begged, "Pa, we gotta get the doc." Eli looked at his son one last time, the boy he had tried so hard to keep innocent. The boy he had failed. He smiled, tired and proud and broken all at once. "You're gonna be a better man than I ever was, Caleb. You go see the world. Don't let it make you what it made me." Then Elias Whitaker, the man they once called the Shadow, closed his eyes for the last time. Caleb buried his father beside his mother the next morning. He took the saddlebag. He saddled the horse. And without looking back, he rode north into the rising sun. The farm stood empty behind him. A quiet grave, a quiet legend. And a boy who now carried both, if you made it all the way to the end. Drop a like and tell me in the comments, where are you watching from right now? See you in the next story. Stay dangerous.